Hello, hello. It's Business Partner, Unit 7, Working Abroad. Lesson 7.3, Communication Skills, Decision Making. It's part B of the lesson. We are going to cover from exercise 7 to the end of the lesson. And in this lesson, we are going to practice the functional language connected to expressing preferences. Positive ones, negative ones, and what we think about things. In the end, we are going to kind of organize an event or organize something. And this is very nice because we are going to be able to express our preferences in our live lesson. But for this preparation, and I think that this is very convenient for us that have to express preferences all the time. I invite you to like the video, please, and watch until the end. Let's go then. Decision making isn't easy sometimes because sometimes we don't have many options or because sometimes we have too many options. Let's see the first exercise, that is exercise 7. Complete these expressions of preference from the video with a word or phrase in the box. What video? This video from last lesson. We had the peach, or no, not the peach because the product had already been sold. But Stephanie and Paula are talking to the Mexican clients when to release the product. Susan and Pedro went to release the product there at their school. And they have preferences. Let's see some of the sentences here. I'm to keep the focus on our launch date. I'd try to find consensus. We're work around your needs. I just to make sure that we are all being realistic. And finally, I'm that we don't want to waste your time. These were the options. Let's go and see our choices. Let's take a look at the possibilities here. We have these words, happy to, keen, prefer not to or prefer to, sure and want. Look at the first one, I'm to keep, so infinitive. I'm keen to keep the focus on our launch date. I would try to find consensus. I'd prefer to try to find consensus. All right? Oops, is it here? Yes. We're work around your needs. We are happy to work around your needs. I just to make sure that we're all being realistic. I just want to make sure, right? And I'm sure that we don't want to waste your time. These are the options. These are kind of expressions that we use. If you prefer to do something or not to do something. You're happy to, infinitive. You want to, infinitive. And if you are keen to do something. If you are sure that you are sure of something, and so on. Right? Good. So let's go to exercise 8. And in exercise 8, we have whole sentences. But we have to match the beginnings with the endings to complete more expressions of preferences. You see, there are many different ways. Let's try to broaden our ways of expressing preferences. Better than I prefer this. No, try to use more expressions. For example, my preference wouldn't be would not be, I don't mind, I would rather, I'd rather not, I'm keen, I'm not keen, if it were up to me, if it were up to me, look at this. And by the way, were after it. And you're going to say, but I was, you were, he, she, it was. Yes, but not in this structure, okay? It was on the table, yes. But if you are talking about an expression like this, with a conditional, if it were up to me, it isn't up to you. But if it were, so you don't say if it was. I would rather, we, you, they, and so on. We'd prefer it if. Let's take a look at the options. My preference is, let's see. I'd choose the red one. To stick to our current supplier. What we do? Waiting for a bit longer. Had the meeting next week. Make the decision now. You emailed us the details or on the idea on changing our plan. So number one, my preference would be, which one? My preference is to stick to our current supplier. All right. I don't mind, and take a look. I don't mind you use these if you don't have a preference, by the way. I don't mind ing. I don't mind waiting for a bit longer, right? I don't mind what we do. I'd rather not make the decision now. Very good one, this. Let me decide later. I'm not keen on the idea. I'm not keen on the idea. I'm not keen changing our plan. I'm not interested in that. I prefer not to do that. If it were up to me, I'd choose the red one. Look, if it were up to me, it's about something that I am going to do, right? I'd choose the red one. Now 6. I would rather had the meeting next week. I'd rather you emailed us the details. I'd rather had the meeting next week. We'd prefer it if you emailed us the details and then we decide later, or something like this, right? How did you like it? I liked very much, and they're correct. Which phrase from 8a indicates that the speaker does not have a preference? I have already told you which one is it. Do you remember? I don't mind what we do. I don't mind waiting for a bit longer. It's okay waiting. It could be now, but I can wait a little longer. It's fine, right? So that's the idea. Well, some of these expressions aren't final. We can change them a little. For example, I prefer, no, the way what you complete. For example, I'd rather not make the decision. You rather not, it's an infinitive without to, right? And so on. I don't mind I don't mind waiting. So it's after I don't mind is ing if you have a verb, and so on. Oops, I always do that, right? Sorry for that. Let's go to exercise 9. In this exercise, we have to complete the dialogue with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. Let's take a look, closer look to it. Where shall we hold next year's graduation ceremony? I'm not keen on the same hotel again. I'm not keen on booking, right? Do you remember? I'm not keen on booking the same hotel again. The catering was terrible. Catering, the food service. Yes, I'd rather we looked. I'd rather we looked at other options too. If it was up to me or were up to me. If it is up to me, if it were up to me, I cancel the whole event. Wow! I would cancel the whole event. It's such a headache to organize. I imagine. Don't worry, I'm happy. Do some research. I'm happy to do, right? To do some research. So what are we looking for? I'd prefer it. I'd prefer it if we chose somewhere closer to the city center. If we chose, yes, but then it gets expensive. I'd prefer not increase the cost. I'd prefer not to increase the cost. People don't mind go to a hotel further away if it has good public transport links. People don't mind going. People don't mind going to a hotel further away if it has good public transport links. Okay, I'll leave it with you. I'll leave it with you. So if you want, you can take a print of the dialogue and study it in more details, because we are using these structures in a dialogue. You could practice this dialogue with a partner or a friend. Very good practice, by the way. And then we have the extra activity here. We should correct the wrong word or wrong word form in each sentence. This is interesting because we have mistakes in all these sentences. Look at the first one. I'd rather we talk about prices, about price now. I'd rather we talked. We talked about price now. If it were up to me, I will cancel the contract, or I would cancel the contract. We'd prefer not to discussing that issue in this meeting. We'd prefer not to. After to, you have an infinitive, not to discuss that issue. She's keen for sign the agreement as soon as possible. She's keen to sign. Okay, she's keen to sign the agreement as soon as possible. And then you know how it works, and then we have to close and go again. Our preference would ease to outsource this process, or would be to outsource this process. We're happy to adapting the software to your specific needs. Oh, that's very good information, right? The client is happy, but not the English teacher. We're happy to adapt the software. I don't mind changing the date of the meeting. I'd rather started the meeting at 9 a.m. than 10 a.m. I'd rather start the meeting at 10 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. then 10. No, this way, right? And finally, we have this task. What do we have to do? We should have a pair or another person and talk about these three situations. We should discuss the points in the box and any ideas that we can also have. Talk about your preferences and try to come to an agreement. You want to organize a team building event for the staff in your department. Where is it going to be held? The duration, what the activities will be, when is it going to happen? How are people going to go to the place? These are things that you should talk about. You want to redesign the room you are sitting in right now. It's a fine room, but we could change some things. The colors, the decor, equipment, or maybe a newer computer, furniture and lighting. Lighting is okay. It's okay. Furniture is good. I can't complain. But maybe the equipment. All right, you want to open a new retail store in your town. I don't. No, thank you. But imagine that's the activity. And you should think about the advertising, location, the pricing, the price of the place, and the price of the products, the product range, what are you going to sell, target market, and type of store. Well, the idea is for you to talk about these topics, and I hope you have very good moment talking about that in the end of 7.3 communication skills decision making. I wish you all the best. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please strike the like button and subscribe to the channel. I hope you watch other videos of the channel and let's go and learn business English together. See you in a further video. Bye bye.